Well, certainly the holiday season is the most important time of the year for the Salvation Army. It's when they hold their famous Red Kettle fundraiser, and also when they provide the most help for people who are in need. But this year the pandemic has increased demand for their services, and at the same time it has cut into people's ability to help. Joining us with more is Captain Teri Ellison of the Duluth Salvation Army. Welcome, Captain. Thank you very much for being here. How has the pandemic increased the need for services you provide through the Salvation Army?
We saw from the beginning of the pandemic back in March an increase in our hot lunch programs Monday through Friday. Not quite a doubling, but we have consistently been serving 100 to 130 lunches every day, and that's just one example.
Did it improve or slow down a little bit during the summer when things maybe weren't quite where they are today?
Not in our hot lunch program. Our food pantry, we did see a slackening off in the summer, but the take-and-go lunches have been consistently at that high rate.
Now, the Red Kettle campaign, of course, is certainly a very important part of what the Salvation Army does. My understanding is you're short of volunteers.
Yes, no surprise. It's almost flip-flop from last year. At this point, we saw about 74% of our first week need for bell ringers met. We're at a 74% need for bell ringers at this point.
How does somebody become a volunteer?
It's very simple. You can just call our office, go to our website at duluthsa.org, call our office and talk to June, and she will walk you through the process. It's a 2-hour commitment, and typically, on average, a person brings in about $60 an hour.
Really? How many sites are there for Red Kettles?
There are 17 sites around Duluth during the kettle season. A few more will join us this weekend, but we will have 17 sites.
How many years now has the Red Kettle campaign been operational?
Well, as long as the Salvation Army has been in Duluth. The first Red Kettle appeared in San Francisco back in 1891. And, you know, you could dig into the history there if you're a history buff, but that began with just a need to feed people on Christmas Day. And a pot was put down by the docks and asked people to throw their change into it. So,
that's how it started?
That's how it started.
Wow. Now, when you look for volunteers, what do you tell people? How much commitment is needed? You said 2 hours at a time. Can they volunteer more than once?
Absolutely. We actually have at our volunteer appreciation dinner awards going to those who have rung the most hours, brought in the most money. We see a lot of organizations and churches that will step up and fill maybe a whole day's slot from 10 to 8. But we do have some folks that they just put hours and hours of their own time bell ringing. Do
you have a goal that you've set for this year?
Yes, our financial goal is $215,000, which is roughly 7 to 10% of our budget, and that was set back in the early days of the pandemic. So now we're at that point where we're trying to see if we're going to actually meet that. Which, if it doesn't come into the kettle, then we are looking at a lot of other ways that we can bring money in that are safe and COVID.
So what are some of the services the Salvation Army provides?
So the money that goes into the kettle, that's just one example of donations. That goes to help in our food program. We have a food pantry, the only medical food pantry in Duluth, emergency assistance, which is help with rent and utilities, and that sort of thing. We also have a housing program, transitional housing, to help people up and out of homelessness. Families, and of course our Rookie Basketball Association and youth programming.
If a person needs help and they turn to the Salvation Army, how do they sign up? How do they become somebody that you indeed can give assistance to?
Well, it depends on what exactly they're looking for. Most people walk in the door or call and make an appointment with one of our staff. We are at the table in Duluth with meeting the needs of the homeless. And there's a whole process in place with the coordinated entry system, and that's how we receive names of people that need help with their homelessness.
Some viewers might be asking, is most of the money collected in the Red Kettles, does it stay here in this area?
Absolutely. Yes, it all stays right here in Duluth to serve the programs that we have in Duluth, yes.
So there's specific needs through the Red Kettle that venue serves.
Yes.
Now, when you look ahead to the next several weeks, do you find that in past years you've noticed an increase in volunteers, an increase in giving as we get closer to Christmas?
Yes. So we are in the very early, we're in our first week. So it's been very slow, but we're not daunted by that. We've seen, even after some of the news stories out there, people calling up and saying, hey, I saw an ad, or I saw an article, I want to know how I can help bell ring. Where we're seeing a decrease are maybe in our friends that are older, that have done this for years, and because of the pandemic are just nervous to get out there. We do want to assure people that we are taking all the safety precautions needed to be safe at the Kettles.
What if not necessarily an individual, but say a group of people, a club, would like to volunteer? Is that permissible?
You know what we advise people to do, we really only want a maximum of 2 people at a kettle, but if a club would like to take part, if they just split out the shifts, took 2-hour shifts or throughout the day, take a whole day at the kettle, and we really help promote that in our own media and social media.
When you look back at the history of the Salvation Army here in Duluth, how old is it?
The Salvation Army has been here for over 125 years.
That long?
1892, yes.
And in all that time, is there any idea at all how many people you have helped?
In all that time?
Yes.
That's a good question. I can just tell you that in the past year, we have served over 60,000 meals to people, over 12,000 nights of safe dwelling space. I have no idea how many in that number of years, though.
Fill us in exactly where you're located here in town.
So we're located on 27th Avenue West, right where the bridge has gone out in the recent days.
All right. Captain Teri Ellison, Salvation Army Duluth. Thank you, Captain, very much, and all the best as you continue this Red Kettle campaign.
Thank you very much.
And before we go, we want to leave you with some sweet words from one of the bell ringers that we saw in the video earlier about why she volunteers her time with the Salvation Army.
Hi, I'm Teri Ellison, and I like bell ringing. I'm just happy because I like helping people, helping kids, and helping older people.